did he have on your career? I mean, obviously you've gone into this field, so he certainly had a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every single bit of it, Donnie. I mean, I go back to when I was 8 years old in 2006. Pitt football was playing the Citadel on a Saturday afternoon, and I got the invite from my grandpap into the broadcast booth. My dad, Billy Jr., has been a spotter for my pap for Pitt football since the mid-'90s, ever since really he graduated from school. And then once I became of age, he decided that he wanted me to be in the booth with him. And I kind of helped my dad out, spotting the visiting team for Pitt for a while. And then a spot opened up my freshman year of high school. I think I was like 15 years old. And he said, I want you to be the full-time spotter for Pitt football. And I'm like, absolutely. It was a dream come true at that time. And I got to be able to sit down next to his left for every Pitt football game. And then some Steeler games, when they had some need for it, if somebody couldn't make it. But for every Pitt football game for like 4.5 years in high school and a little bit in college, I was sitting right next to him, and I got to watch him call a football game. And that's really where my love for this business and love and passion for, Pittsburgh and its sports teams took off. And I told him one day, Pap, I want to do what you do. And he talked about that in the interview as well. A very rewarding, I think, conversation for him. And, lo and behold, I go to Waynesburg, I meet you, and I graduate from Waynesburg. And, I end up with a job out here at WTOV in the Ohio Valley, anchoring the sports on the weekends. I actually just pulled into my destination for the night to cover a basketball game here coming up at 7 o'clock. So, yeah, it was a very, easy decision and easy career path for me to want to do that.
Yeah, so we did go to Waynesburg together, Jack. Now, you a few years behind me, and Lanny Ferteri has been a professor there for about 15 years now. And he himself was the voice of the Pirates for over 30 years. But did he and your pap, Bill Hillgrove, have a prior relationship? And is that something that helped you discover the school and the program that it had?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that I don't think they were good buddies by any means, but if they would run into each other, at a function or whatever, they would sit down and talk to one another, have a conversation. And obviously Lanny had to think highly enough of my pap for the sports announcing camp at Waynesburg a week long in June that Lanny would host. He offered my pap to come in as a guest speaker. And my pap had done that for, a couple of years ever since the camp was founded or started up by Lanny. And then when I became eligible age-wise to go to the camp, and this was I think around like February or January of my sophomore year of high school is when I had that conversation with my pap about I want to follow in his footsteps and do all that. And then that March or April, my pap came to me. Actually, I think it might have been before a Pitt basketball game even. He was like, Lanny Ferteri has this camp at Waynesburg. I'm a guest speaker. You're going. I'm paying for you to go. You're going. And I'm like, all right, sounds good. And, admittedly, I had to be like, who the heck is Lanny Ferteri and where the heck is Waynesburg? Because, and as a Pittsburgh kid, people might be like, well, how do you not know who Lanny is? The Pirates weren't very good growing up, and I was born in 98. So, like, when Lanny retired in 2008, I wasn't listening or watching a whole lot of Pirate games growing up because they just weren't very good. So, after some research and, I'm like, oh, I know that voice. I got to go to the camp summer of 2015 at Waynesburg University, and then I was sold. That's where I wanted to go. And I think I was the first enrollee in the class of 2021. I had like my first week of my senior year of high school, and I applied at the end of my first week of school in August of 2016, and then I got my acceptance like in September, and I was enrolled. Like I didn't really apply to anywhere else, and I was just very hell-bent on, becoming a yellow jacket and a member of the Department of Communication. And it was the best decision I've ever made.